on day 19, the wind switched. So I had my tarp, my temporary shelter set up with the opening facing south-southwest so that the most of the weather came in and, you know, went over me. So this one day, I mean, it was low that day. It was low all day. And then the wind whoops up. And the wind had turned and was coming from the southwest, just working my tarp. You know, my tarp's like a sail now. It's facing the way that this weather's coming. This was not the predominant weather direction, because I had my tarp set up to handle the predominant weather direction. But you know, you don't always get that. And now there's rain. I had spent all day gathering food in the morning for my own consumption, gathered, you know, filled my boots up and dumped them in the berry log that day, worked on rock house 5 or 6 hours. Who knows what all I did that day. I know I had a full day, because at dark I crawled in my sleeping bag, and you know, when you put in a big day like that, you just go to sleep. There ain't no around. You're ready for sleep. I'm about ready to drift off, and that wind's blowing my tarp, and now it's starting to rain. It's blowing rain under my tarp, and the tarp's working because it's facing the wrong way. Well, this is day 19. I had just got all the last poles on top of rock house that day. This is the roof poles. So they're rock houses, I mean, there ain't no door, and you know, a lot of stuff like that ain't finished. The bunk's done. I had the bunk done, which was a huge process in rock house, because it's rock. You can't sleep on rock, so I had to build an elaborate bunk, which wasn't necessarily out of my strategy. You got to have a comfortable bunk to survive the winter. I've spent a lot of winters in wall tent where I got abandoned, and some cabins I got abandoned once, and long story short, you spend a lot of time in your bunk in a deep winter. So I wanted a good bunk. It was done by day 19. The roof was done, except for taking my tarp off my temporary shelter and putting it on the roof to waterproof it, but all the logs were there. And now here comes that badass weather. I'm already bedded down. I mean, I'm comfy. I got my pants off and everything. I am bedded down for the night. And this weather's starting to come in, and I got a bad feeling about it. I'm thinking, I ought to get my ass up and move into rock house tonight. I got my headlamp. I ain't sleeping yet. You know, you're all comfy. You're bedded down. It would have been so easy to just stay there and deal with it in the morning. I made myself get up, rolled up my bedding, and you know, I was camped under a big high tree, which mostly ain't a good move, because them things can, you know, too big a timber can fall and smash you. But and I was under a big, nice boughy dry tree, and I put all my gear up under that tree, yanked my tarp off, and put on my headlamp. Of course, it's dark now, dark and rainy and windy as a son of a bitch, and I started trucking shit to rock house. First I took the tarp back and laid it out to where it needed to be, weighted it down with enough rock to get me through that storm. Started hauling loads. For next thing I got was my sleeping bag. You know, I don't want that getting wet. After sleeping bag, I started hauling clothes and my pack. I don't want my clothes wet. The gear, you know, tools could get wet somewhat. It took a long time. Took well past midnight. I was, you know, into the wee hours of the morning, humping gear in a storm. Got my bed made in rock house finally and everything. And then I never forget it, I filmed out the door as the rain was falling, and you know, it's dripping off the roof, and I'm in there safe and secure. That was my first round of bad weather, and I absolutely made the right decision. Here's the first tip, the first Roland Welker tip that you want to take with you in the woods. Passive strategy works once in a while in just the perfect situation. If you're looking at something and thinking about what to do, activity will win 99 times out of 100. I absolutely made the right decision moving that night.